If I go to Spain, will I be killed by a bull? No, you probably will not be killed by a bull. Bulls are not just running around the streets loose most of the time. That would be a little like saying, if I go to the United States, will I stumble across a wild stallion and a cowboy? All right, look at me. I'm half flamenco already. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Church. Today we are going to have a lot of fun. I want to try to turn myself into a flamenco dancer, and at the same time I thought I would take advantage and talk about some of the stereotypes that exist out there about Spain and Spanish people. So let's get started. Okay, so the first question that I have is, how widespread is flamenco dancing? Perfect topic to start on. Flamenco dancing is not widespread. It's more in the south of Spain, or for example, if you go to a really touristy place, for example, like Barcelona. So as far as walking around the streets and seeing the women dressed up in such beautiful dresses and men walking around with those stereotypical black hats, that doesn't really happen up in the north of Spain. And even in the south of Spain, it's more very specific to if you're at a performance. If you go to something that is called a romeria, I will try to insert right over here a picture of what a romeria is. That's where you're going to see the people dressed to the nines, looking very elegant in their flamenco type dresses, their outfits and their horses, and it's a lot of beautiful fun. But as far as where I live, Castilla y León, it's very hard to find flamenco. If I go to Spain, will I be killed by a bull? No, you probably will not be killed by a bull. Bulls are not just running around the streets loose most of the time. If you want to see bulls in general, you have to seek them out. You have to pay to go see a bullfight. See, those are closed arenas. So that would be a little like saying, if I go to the United States, will I stumble across a wild stallion and a cowboy? You have to kind of go to a show, right? A rodeo to see that. So that's a similar idea here. In Spain, you're not going to just randomly come face to face with a bull. Definitely it's widespread, however. If you go to what's called a fiesta, like a local fiesta, you will have the opportunity to see bulls, unless it's a really, really small town, and even those small towns find a place in the budget for a small bull. If you go to a bigger place in Spain, you're going to be more likely to see the bigger bulls because, of course, they have a bigger allotment of money that they can put towards the bulls. So bulls are all over the place, but you're not going to be killed by a bull unless you're really dumb. Let's move on to the next question. Does everyone in Spain love bullfighting? No. Bullfighting is a really problematic topic. If you want to get people riled up real fast, bring up bullfighting at the dinner table. Some people view it as a form of a form of animal cruelty. Other people see it as an art. That's the short version of the bullfight debate. Next question. How many hours a day do you nap? So this is coming from the topic of the siesta, right? Sadly, I have to say that the siesta is dying. People do have siestas still. And the people that have siestas have the siesta for the same reason that they did in the past. It's because they're getting up at the butt crack of dawn to go work in the fields. And butt crack of dawn, we're talking like 2, 3 in the morning. That's because it gets so stinking hot. If you go to the south, for example, because you want to see a flamenco show, don't be surprised if you're wandering around at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it's so hot outside that you see only tourists. They're hiding inside. That also means that they got up super early or that they're going to be staying up super late. They have adapted to the climate, basically. I remember reading an article that said that Spanish people actually log in less hours of sleep than most of the people in Europe. It's just at a different time of the day. Goodness gracious, this takes a long time. No wonder I never do this. This is only half of my hair. I have an undercut. Let me show you guys this without taking off the microphone. So literally, we're only dealing with half of my hair. Can you guys imagine what this looks like when I don't do it? It is such a pain. Perfect. All right, onwards and upwards. moving on to the hairstyle. So I want it to be simple. Most of the time they include beautiful giant flowers and what they call a peineta, which is that thing that sticks out at the top of the head. But I looked through our costume drawer earlier. I found all kinds of things, but I did not find the peineta that I know that we had at some point, or the flowers. So I'm gonna keep it simple, pull it over here to the side, and put in this headband that I found. I gotta get rid of the sweatshirt, I'm sweating. Oh, so much. And another question. Do you eat paella all the time? Definitely not. Paella is delicious. You can go to the grocery store, basically any grocery store, and get paella to go. It even is cooked in those big paella pans. It is actually pretty decent. Better than anything that I could make probably. However, there definitely still is the tradition of having paella, and that's kind of pretty much widespread. So for example, he wanted to learn how to make paella because I think he just wanted to kind of keep up that tradition and be able to do that with his family, and now it's turned into this really fun option. Sometimes it's American barbecue and sometimes it's Spanish paella, and my hair is too long for this thing. Should I just leave it down? Is this too basic? Do flamenco dancers wear side ponytails? I'm looking at my phone. Flamenco pelo, coleta. Yeah, they're making it a little bit more fancy than I am. Let's be real here. I don't see anyone with just a side ponytail. Maybe I could do it old school bun style. I did not realize my hair was so long, especially since I never straighten it. Hey, that was way faster and easier than I thought it was gonna be. You know what, that's just gonna have to do. Perfect. All right, little flamenco bunsy back there. And now for the finishing touch, which is real fancy, AKA this headband that I found in the costume drawer that I'm literally going to cut off this piece that's unraveling because it's just gonna be tucked behind my ear anyway. Hey, hey, hey. Pretty cute. All right, look at me. I'm half flamenco already. A little bit of hairspray. Oh, Jesus. Never use this stuff anyway, so that's why. I don't even know if I want to do this. I feel like it's just going to make it stick straight off my head. Back to the questions. Is life in Spain a non-stop party? Good question. Obviously, people work. Obviously, people do other things other than party. However, I will say, I can't talk when I do this apparently. I'm sure other people have this way more down to a better art, but you know what? I'm not a big makeup person. Mostly to cover up the blue that ends up here, right? That's all this is. We take our kids to the park. We take them to extracurricular activities. However, I will say that it's way more socially acceptable to party until way later in life. In fact, forever. It's socially acceptable to party at any age, really here, which is super nice. I remember going to a coworker's retirement party. This is a couple of years ago. I bet it was in my early 30s. You know, she was like 65. She was on that dance floor until I left at probably 3 in the morning. She was still going strong, way stronger than I was, so that should give you an idea. Also, something that's different is people take their kids out. That obviously changes the game too, because we're not talking about finding a babysitter, figuring out how to leave the kids at home or something. We're talking about I just take my kids out with me and they play until I'm ready to go home, and then we all go home together and fall asleep and sleep in the next day. And that means that you go out to a main square and there are kids out there until, 1 o'clock in the morning, for sure. Yes, I guess the short answer to that is yes. There is more of a culture of partying. Next question, let's talk about personal space. So I was shocked when I went home to the United States this summer and was walking around in, I think, Walmart or Target or, one of those really big ones. I kept having people kind of like jump out of my way, like they were in my personal space. I hadn't even picked up that they were there yet. They weren't even on my radar yet. It's not that you don't have personal space, but people just, it's smaller. Don't be surprised if you come to visit and you're in the grocery store and somebody literally reaches their arm right across you like this to reach a product that's on the other side of you, because that'll happen. That's just part of being here. Next question. Do Spanish people talk louder? Yes, they do! At a restaurant in Spain, it's definitely a louder situation unless you go to a specifically pretty quiet, like romantic feeling area. However, I will say that I have been surprised at how loud Americans are in some contexts. I guess what shocks me more as an American with the talking style and the communication style is more the fact that they're interrupting each other constantly. For example, when I started dating my husband, Beltran, I picked up on this pretty quickly. And I had to tell him, I remember being in the car and telling him, like, if you want to know anything about me, you're gonna have to ask me questions, because that's a way that you know, kind of show you're interested in what's going on with me and who I am. A Spanish person wouldn't necessarily need that kind of encouragement. In Spain, it's blah, 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 blah. You take advantage when that other person takes a breath, otherwise you're not gonna be able to say anything in the conversation. Whereas, as you all know, in the United States, it's all about turn taking and showing that you're interested by asking a follow-up question. So don't expect any of that while you're here, because you're not gonna get it. Let's put a little bit of sparkles, because you know, why not? The next question is, does everyone speak Spanish? Not necessarily. This is actually really politically charged question, one that I'm not going to get into too many details. Basically, there's 4 different dialects in Spain. We have Castellano, we have Basque, we have Galician. How could I forget Catalan? Okay, pretty. Let's talk about the food. The question is Spanish food spicy like Mexican food? No, not at all. In fact, when I came to Spain as an undergraduate and studied abroad here, I definitely came over thinking that it was gonna be like South American food that I learned about in my Spanish class. I remember being like, oh, everything has rice in it and sour cream and salsa, and that's definitely not the case here. My suggestion would be that you just come and try it all, because it's so delicious and so nothing like South American food. What the heck is a tapa? Delicious question. Tapas have at least one other name that I know of, and that's pincho. The way that we could describe it in context is basically that when you go to a bar, not all bars are like this, and it also depends on where you go, but if you go to a bar and you ask for a drink, they're gonna give you a small little plate with something on it. So this can, for example, when I go get coffee in the morning, when I order my coffee, they give me a choice. Sometimes they give you options, sometimes they don't, sometimes they just give it to you. And it really depends on where you go. In Valladolid, for example, where I live, it's not necessarily typical that you will get a tapa automatically with your food. You normally have to order it and pay for it. In Castilla León itself, there is León, which is really known for its tapas. It's a really big draw for tourists, because you know that you go into a bar and it's got like the tapas menu and you choose off of the tapas. So you go in and you order 5 drinks and you pay for the 5 drinks and you walk out of there full. I'm sure that there are makeup people out there that are like, you need to put on more makeup, and this silly little hair doesn't want to stay down. But I feel like that's my makeup for the flamenco look. The next thing is putting on the actual dress. The last question that I have is, to see a bull, do I have to see a bullfight? I should have talked about this earlier on. However, fun fact, you don't have to see a bull killed to see people interacting with bulls in a really cool way. There is a thing that's called cortes, my favorite activity to do related to bulls. What you do is you go, and these extremely athletic young people, mostly young men, there is the occasional young woman, get in the ring with a bull, no cape, no sword, nothing that they can actually like hurt the bull with. And what they do is they just try to get as close to the bull as possible. And I don't know how the point system works, but they get points for being close to the bull. And so the bull will like pass right behind them, and they like bend their backs over it. They flip over the top of them. So they take turns and they kind of work as a group. The people work as a group to get the bull lined up, and then the bull goes with the person and they do whatever. They bend over the back, they flip over it, and when finally they've had their two or three turns, they all like kneel down to the bull as like a thank you, and the bull leaves. So that would definitely be my suggested activity if you want to go see bulls and not do the bullfight thing. Let's go find my dress. Actually, before we go find my dress, let's put on some lipstick so I don't look quite so pale. Kudos to those people that do like makeup tutorials. How do they do it? Maybe I should find some earrings. All right, these feel pretty good. Ta-da. There we go. I look like a little flamenco lady, kind of. All right, let's go. Okay, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna show you guys this look all by myself. This is what I'm rocking right now. All the way from my PJ pants down to my Crocs. I'm gonna do my own little, my shot here. Woo, woo, woo. All the way to the shoes. Don't know if you can see them. So this is the look. I am officially a flamenco dancer. Please consider subscribing, liking, turning on notifications, all of those good things, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.